One of those nights that I love when I get to share the screen with amazing people. I have my dear friends Crystal and Linda, who are both in More Than Existing, who have taken the journey through More Than Existing, joining us tonight as we talk about the More Than Existing program, journey, and a little bit about the book. But I don't want to take up the time right away with the program. I want to let these women speak about their journey in More Than Existing and what More Than Existing meant to them. So I'm just giving a minute just to get a few people in here. And so just bear with me, girls. I'm just watching the screen fill up a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see the comments. If not, I will tell you the comments. But I also want to tell people, and as with any of my lives, we're pretty laid back in here. So if anyone out there in watching has questions, please post your questions and I will answer them, or I'll pass them to the girls and they can answer them for you. And welcome. So I am going to give Crystal the opportunity to speak first. Crystal is one of those amazing women who is multi-talented. She has recently graduated from the level 1 of the More Than Existing program, going into level 2. So we're going to let her speak first, and then I'm going to go over to Linda. So this is Crystal, who is a graduate of the level 1 of the More Than Existing program, with her story for you guys. Take it, Crystal. It's yours.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Crystal. And earlier this year, I'd seen some posts from Corrie about this More Than Existing course. And it initially
Oh, hold on, Crystal. We lost your camera. We hear you. We lost your camera. You must have flipped somehow there. You have to click your camera again. Oh, you got two screens open now. You'll have to.
Is it good now?
You just got to close one window. You got two windows open.
Okay, let me see here.
No, it's the other window.
Wrong one.
This is how lives go. Yeah. So when you click your camera again, you may need to go back and then close. You'll hear it. There you go. I think you're good now. I think. No, you still got an echo. So you would have another tab open. Hi, everyone who's joining in. This just gives us an opportunity to let more people join in so they can hear these stories and get us. Here.
Not sure. Is it working now?
You still have an echo, so you still have another screen that's open. So I'm going to get you to do something. I'm going to get you to go out altogether, close out, and then come back in.
Okay.
And do that. And so in the meantime, I'll get Linda to go first then. So we close all the way out and then come back in. Okay. So while we have Crystal having to reset here, typical, how we roll, the fun. Linda is a level 3 graduate, multi-talented, and very well knowledgeable in this program. She has been here since the first class ever started, and she has taken quite the journey to be to where she is. So I'm going to give her an opportunity to speak about her journey through this.
Yay,
Linda.
So yeah, sorry, I was not really planning to speak. I was just gonna come in and kind of be a cheerleader in the background. But so I began my journey with Corrie probably while More Than Existing was still a kind of a seed back here. Did lots of work with Corrie prior to the More Than Existing program being born. But I was very privileged to be part of the first cohort of women to walk this path with her. Originally, when I started, I was a very anxiety-ridden person in my professional life. I feel like I lacked some self-confidence, and I just really was not sure about a whole lot of things that were going on for me. And what I appreciated about beginning this journey was what I call kind of Corrie's. I want to make sure that I get the right. It's assertive compassion in action is what I call it, because she can help you see your way through things in a way that kind of calls you out without feeling like you're being called out. Helps you see and think your way through. Giving you the tools that she has developed and used and models. And I mean, I've done 3 levels now, which people that know me know that I am I could have been considered a personal development junkie. If you can see all the stuff behind me, lots of hundreds of dollars of books, lots of books on that that I have. I've quit having to go there because I have found the answers within myself and within the group of sisters that I've developed such a good relationship with over the time that I've spent with them. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say except that I'm really proud of the person that I've become and am becoming, and I feel like I owe a lot of that to the guidance and tools and things that I have learned in walking this journey with Corrie. So
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for braving to come onto the screen, even though you weren't planning on it. And you're welcome to stay all the way through, or you're welcome to sit back. It's up to you. And we'll move over to Crystal, who's a level 1, and we were trying to get Crystal in a few moments ago, and we had audio and camera issues, but we have her in now. So, Crystal, we would love to hear your story of your journey through the level 1 of More Than Existing, and a little bit about you and your whys.
Yeah. So earlier in the year, I had seen Corrie's ads. I met Corrie once a couple of years ago for a Reiki session, and I kind of really got a good feel for her. Very kind and compassionate. When I seen the ads or the program pop up, I was immediately interested. Like, something about the way that it was written really piqued my interest. And so I reached out to Corrie and I signed up. And pretty much from that moment on, my journey started even before I got to the first class, because I went through every single fear that I could think of. Fear of speaking in front of other people, the fear of change, the fear of looking at myself. So within the 2 weeks before the course started, I was literally talking myself in and out of the course. So the day came and I ended up just jumping in and trying to, just be open-minded and, go through it. And it's been a really great journey for me. It's opened my eyes to tools and a way of looking at things that I really hadn't looked at it before. And the way that Corrie teaches, it's very kind and compassionate, like how Linda was saying, but there's a certain assertiveness there for yourself as an individual, but also as a group, where she kind of nudges and encourages you along. Because I know that there were a few times along the way where I got into that little mode in my head where I was like, I don't want to do the work. I don't feel like doing it. And it's too hard. And looking at certain things about your life. So I was really dragging my feet. But that's where Corrie and the mentors that we have in the group, and then the sisterhood that I found through this with the ladies, and watching them simultaneously, even though we're all individuals, we were walking this same journey, and it was really, really neat. And I even told Corrie once, because the weekly sessions that we would do with her, I told her once, are you in my house sometimes, like just sitting in a corner listening? Because it was so on spot and on par with what was happening in my life at that point in time. And then by the time you got to course, it was like almost like a review of your week, and it was pretty wicked. And she has a saying, and I've told her that she needs to trademark it because it can't make that shit up. And I've caught myself saying that quite a few times throughout my journey. It's been hard. There is things that I've had to look at that I didn't want to look at. But I found that once I did and was able to dig in deeper, it really created an understanding of myself, where certain tools to survive had come from. And I'm still on a learning journey. So I'm going on to level 2, and I'm really excited. And but even the level 1 it's a continuous practice in my life. And there's times where, we're human, we have our ups and downs, but most of the time it just helps me in my day to day. And just like Linda, before I started the course, I had acute stress anxiety. Couldn't go anywhere, had a hard time talking to people and being in public spaces. I was also diagnosed with PTSD, and I'm kind of stubborn that way. I see them as labels. And I wasn't mentally or really focused on working on those 2 pieces throughout the course. But I noticed that since I've finished the course, that my anxiety and my PTSD, even though it wasn't a focus for me, have been at an all-time low. Mm-hmm. And that to me in itself is a huge gift, that Corrie has given along the way with, her gifts and, the healing and, the support from others. And it's really given me a confidence to value myself more and be okay with myself. So any ladies that are out there that are maybe in the same situation and wondering about whether or not they should be taking this course and they're in doubt, I'd say jump in. I was there and it was worth it for me to do it, and I want to continue with it. So that's why I'm moving on to level 2, because I think there's still more to discover about myself and moving forward. So yeah.
Yay. Thank you for sharing that. I'm just getting up on my phone because I think the messages are stalled. So I want to bring up. I'm not really. Thank you so much for that. I so appreciate. I appreciate the honesty and truth that really comes through of your journeys, and it's such a big thing. More Than Existing is a self-actualization. It's empowerment. It is healing. It's kind of evolved. It started as a mentorship program where I would help mentor through. And it has just so evolved, and it was self-actualization. It was that self-awareness, because I have gone through every stage possible during this program, and I'm very open about that with my student. I'm as human as the rest of the class. And so I teach on that level of being, maybe I may have experienced something different, but there's a lot of things that these women in these groups have experienced that I haven't yet to experience in life. And so I honor that as a part of our journey. And Crystal made a really good point about her PTSD and anxiety being a lot less than. And then Linda nodded on this. Mm-hmm. And it's the sense that is not our focus, because we're not in a psychology, we're not in counseling. We're in this self-actualization, this self-awareness group where we make ourselves a priority, where we stop suppressing and we start to deal with all of the other stuff in our lives. So we clear the room. We clear the clutter. We clear everything else to make room for the things that we actually need to put our focus in dealing with, whether it is something of grief, whether it, that we're dealing with in the moment, whether it is something of the past, but we make room so that we can focus on what is of priority in our lives. And that is the journey to more than existing. When we spend our time just shoveling down, just pretending we're okay when we're not, just pushing everything underneath the rug, just saying, I don't have time to deal with this, or just trying to make everyone else comfortable around you so that where we are in life don't make everyone else uncomfortable, that we have to deal with this. Mm-hmm. And we take that space and we turn it into something of a personal space, a holding space room where we can say, you know what? We all have something. We're all on a different journey. What we're going to clear out, we're going to work on clearing out all of the other things by gaining clarity, by focusing, by getting real and honest with ourselves, saying, you know what, there's a lot of things in life that we have been conditioned to, a lot of old belief systems, and a lot of old stories in life that, when we go back to the origin of that, it's like it probably had nothing to even do with us, or it was so long ago that that person doesn't even exist anymore, but we carry that. So as a little bit like the Adam and Eve story, back to the original sin, if we constantly taking blame for the original sin, or we keep feeling responsible for the original sin place, that original place of origin where these moments in our lives happen, and we feel as if we have to keep punishing ourselves, or we keep holding on to an anger, a resentment, and we keep letting that take away from what we have right now is the opportunity to be joyful and happy within our own hearts, to go inward, then that is holding us captive to something. That is keeping us away from so many beautiful things like our family and, friends, relationships, that we can really be enjoying our own company. And you find when we're so in those old energies that you can't even stand your own company. You don't even want to be alone with yourself. The more that you go through this More Than Existing program, what I found during my journey was that I learned to be okay to be by myself. I learned to be okay that when I wasn't with my sisters, or I didn't have to be always trying to occupy myself, always trying to stay busy, always trying to run away from all these other parts of you. Staying busy and staying running keeps us from being able to actually face. And like, your feelings and feeling is two different things. And when you can feel it, when you feel your heart hurting, when you feel that angst inside of you, that's you calling out to you. That's you. That's our spirit, our soul essence of us calling out to us. And that's exactly what you ladies did, and all the other ladies that are in the More Than Existing program. You answered the call. You answered the call to step up, to say, you know what? I have to stop. I have to stop running. I have to stop hiding. I have to get real with myself and really face this head on. And I always say, it's like, we mix it up. The program is based on the core system of identity, belief systems, archetypes, um, planning. But it's all about healing the foundation so that we can build healthier lives, healthier selves. And it's about knowing your worth and your value. But you don't know your worth and your value just by somebody saying, hey, you're valuable. Hey, you mean something. That's okay. And we might accept it in a minute. But in the long run, we can't sustain that. So we spend a lifetime going all the way up here because we get something we get the thrill out of. Yay, so good. I'm like achieving this and I'm doing this. And then poof, we crash back down. This is about finding that medium, that happy medium, that place where we can sit and know that we can be real. And we're going to have bad days. We're going to have good days. I was going to say, we're going to have fucking shitty days, is what I wanted to say. I'm going to say, like, we're going to have days that are going to be like, I still have them. I had it about this damn book. When it's like these moments that come up and arise for us are real. And that's a real part of this journey. And, but we know that we're not alone anymore, right? And that's a big thing. Does one of you want to speak on that part of it a little bit there, Linda?
Well, I want to say that, as always, you always get me thinking, and as I'm listening to Crystal talk and you talk, and I'm doodling over here, I'm jotting, journaling, whatever. So I have written down these 4 things: peel, feel, deal, and be real. And that's what we do. That's and I mean, I don't know that we, like, it's through the tools and through the discussion with the people in the group that those layers are peeled back, and that we can examine the things as we discover them, that we can examine them together. And the together part is such a big piece. And I'm not even sure I don't even know if I realized how big of a piece it was until we were kind of at the end of that first group. And it was like, okay, what do you mean we're not meeting anymore? Like how can we, it's been a long time since our group of the third generation, it's been a long time since we've been physically together, but we are still very active together. We seek each other out, and we continue to have and develop that relationship because it has become so important, because that is where we can be real first and get our feet under the real us before we have to necessarily be real out there, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Good way to put it, right? It's like you get your feet wet, you figure out how you're going to be your real, your latest version of you, and then you put yourself out there. Yeah, thank you. Crystal?
I think initially for me with the anxiety, it was the speaking up. Speaking up's always kind of been something that's hard for me. People always tell me talk louder. um, but having the chance to sit and listen to others in my group share their stories, and seeing that they were able to be vulnerable taught me that it's okay to share yourself and show yourself and share your truth. And I think that, and I like to call it a sisterhood, because we shared that journey together. We had our individual experiences, but yeah, it's a support for me. And like Linda, when the course ended, it's like, okay, it's done now. But we still support each other. We still have our groups and we still talk to each other, and it's definitely important. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm just looking over at some of the questions. Thank you, ladies. And I'm looking over some of the questions and stuff. And Lisa Star Francis, I can't call you anything else, Lisa. She posted, that I've provided this safe healing place. And it's such a blessing. And it was, I needed a place. I needed a space. And in opening up that space, I may have opened it, but it's the ladies in this group that's created it. They're the ones that made this. The same thing I always say about the program. I say it's created through me, and it's always evolving through me. And because I teach live, it's always taught on the energy that is present of each and every group. And so it's such an amazing process when I don't ever think about how it's going to be taught. I trust the process, and it is evolving. And it started with just that one level, and then it got added on to, because we couldn't separate. and we couldn't lose that, and it just evolved. But a big part of More Than Existing, and the big part of, now that we have the level 4, which is a coaching, teaching part of the program, is the fact that it's about doing the work on you first, making yourself a priority. Doing all of this all leads us into, and every one of these are valuable tools to go into level 4, into the full teaching program, where you get to become a coach, where you get to do this. And in the meantime, that you made yourself a priority first. You put yourself first. You did this, and you did it for you. And it is in that space. And it's like self-actualization, healing, a little bit of kind of everything, and no telling you what you need to be, how you need to show up, no rules or regulations on what kind of person you should be by the time you're done this. It's about your personal journey. It's about your space, and everyone supports each other where they are. And we have women from all walks of life, all different professions, all different roles they play within this world, all different, stories, but we all have a common ground, that we've never made ourselves a priority, that we forgot to take care of us. We took care of everyone else, and we forgot about us. And we are now stepping up to be that, and to be that in a bigger way. And it's such a beautiful journey. And I'm just looking back, and Paula, so glad we did this tonight. And last time around, we did a lot of these, and it was so important so that people can see our stories, so that that, if you're on the fence about the course and about how the course works, it's an investment into you. And it's a real investment. And yes, Wendy, they're recorded. So it's like, you don't have to be at everyone live. And that's a big thing, right? And life gets busy. And because life gets busy, that whole, I got to be here, I got to do that. You have enough of that in your life. You have enough of that responsibility outside of taking responsibility for your own life that is laid upon us, that this is, you know what, if I'm 10 minutes late, it don't matter. But it's about really trying to make the effort for yourself and not making somebody else. That's a commitment, because it is a commitment to you. And we get into those habits of, oh, well, this person needs me tonight and that person, so I can't go. If it's a work or something, but I always say, remember why you were making time for you, why you were investing into you. Try to attend as many classes as you possibly can, but know that you don't have to weigh so much weight on your shoulders. And the worksheets are not homework, they're journaling. So they're not, you don't come in and get like a slap on the hands for not having your work done. It's you doing those questions when it feels right. And you can always go back and re-answer them later, revisit them later, redo it later, and reach out, and those beautiful groups that you get put in so that you can work together and just spend time together. My journey started years ago, and I was well working as a healer when this happened to me. And I just couldn't take no more. I was sitting in my driveway. I owned a massive salon and spa, and I was putting that face on for the world. You know, I'd get into the driveway, get ready to leave the house, and my anxiety was so bad that I could not even breathe. And I'd have to cry for about half hour before I could even leave the driveway. And then I'd have to build myself up to get out of the car when I got to work. And I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm done. This is too exhausting. And then have to show up at work and put the face on. And then I heard myself becoming miserable. And then I heard myself becoming cranky. And I'm like, okay, I'm being snarky. I'm not being nice. And I'm like, I have no problem saying there's times I wasn't very nice. And that was the truth, because I had nothing left inside of me to give. And I was trying my very best. And that's what we're doing. We keep trying to do our best when we're not emptying out and filling up on, we're not recharging our batteries. And we're powering up on more of the negative and more of just trying to self-soothe on other things, rather than, taking the time for us to do this process, to go through this. And now I look at myself and I often hear this sometimes, well, who is she? Like, to be doing, and like, why not me? Mm-hmm. Why not me? It takes putting the work into ourselves. And this was a big journey of accepting ourselves, stop rejecting ourselves, to no longer be, afraid to show our truth and show who we really are and not be ashamed of anything. And to stop just identifying ourselves only by the roles we play. Mm-hmm. Because we are women and we're grown-ass women, and we want to be able to describe ourselves as something other than, those roles that we play. It's like, what are you? It's a huge question that I ask. What are you? What are you? As you define yourself by just this, what are you? And it's a hard question to answer. And it was in the moment of creating bios for being a keynote speaker that I recognized that. It's like, well, I describe myself as everything but me. Every role, every title, right? And we give ourselves those titles that define us, and then people expect us to be that. So when we even look at our moms and we look at the people in our lives, well, this was my mom, this is what my mom was like, and this was, but did you know the person? Call them by name. Did you know the person? Did you know the person? Tell me about that person. And that's when it was a real hit home for me, was, I know, you're known as the hairdresser. I was known as Maggie's mom. I was known as these other things. But did anyone know me? And in the book, I don't know if it's this book or the second book, I write about a story about being outside of my shop. And I ran into a really good client. And I said hello to her. And she's like, oh, do I know you? I feel like I should know you. I was so defined by behind that chair that when she seen me outside of there, she didn't know who I was. Didn't even recognize me. And I was just her hairdresser. And not that she didn't value my services. I didn't value myself other than that. So I was such a workaholic, so hidden to my work. And that's what we do. We start to avoid. We do those things so that we don't have to face our truth or face our reality of where we have placed ourselves in life. Not where anyone else has placed us, where we have placed ourselves. Anyone want to fill in on that one?
I think for me, definitely facing truths and looking at yourself. The initial part of what you talked about is, who are you? I literally answered that, and I looked back at it in my worksheets. It was a list of titles. I'm, I'm 37 and I'm a mom and I'm, a worker and things like that. And it wasn't until we got to class that I, started to realize, well, that's not really who you are, though, and that was definitely a first step to me realizing, well, I think you have something to learn here. So, yeah, so I took that, and I'm still growing and learning who I am, and I think it's going to take a while, but yeah, I'm happy where I'm at right now. So, yeah.
Right. Linda?
I also discovered many things that I like. Corrie's been telling me forever, how talented I am, or how gifted I am, and I was not there. I did not see myself as those things. I'm so grateful that I have been allowed to participate in some safe spaces where I can explore those pieces of myself. One of the other things, though, that I found, and I think I've known this for a long time, but like when you raise your own vibration, everybody around you has to step up to meet that. So when you do this work, it really does impact people around you, and it, I mean, in my case, I guess I've been lucky because people have stepped up to that. So I haven't really, there have been some that I have had to let go and just say, you know what, it's okay. I like, go in peace. I love you, and wish only well for you. But the biggest thing for me was, like, I didn't keep a commitment to myself ever in my life. I shouldn't say not ever, but I mean, I'm going to exercise, or I'm going to eat right, or I'm going to, and I just never did it. I didn't do it. I was always looking after other people. And this is one of the things that I've developed and has become a mantra to me now, is that I'm teaching other people how to treat me, right? By how I treat myself. And so when I take this time for myself, and it's like, we haven't, how long has it been since we've been online, Corrie? For like, it's been a long time, right?
For a while now for us, yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? When I come into this space that I'm sitting in right now, because this is where I come to participate in that, when I move into this space, everybody in my house asks me now, are you going online? Like, are you going to be online? Because they know it's protected time, and I need you to not bother me, and I need you to keep the TV down, because I need to be able to hear and to concentrate and to meditate if that's what we need to do. So it's really allowed me to establish some boundaries, and to teach other people about what's important to me, and they respect that. So it's a huge win for me. Huge win.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, every little wins can be this big, or they can be like this big.
Yeah.
Like, they can be massive, but they can be also small, but they're wins. And it's so, it's, you start to celebrate those wins, and then you notice you're celebrating you, and then you notice everyone else is celebrating you, and people are honoring you, and people are respecting you, because you teach people how to treat you. And it's huge. It's like, if we allow, if we treat ourselves that way, why would anyone else treat us any different? Why would, we disrespect ourselves, or we talk down about ourselves? Then it's okay for somebody else to do that to us as well. And it's not a judgment upon anyone else. It's just saying, it's not okay. It's not okay. And so in this program, we don't go in there and start talking about, this one's doing this or that one's doing that to me. And I always say, we don't want the filler. We want the yes, no things. We want the black and white. What is happening? What is happening in my life right now? What do I need to do? Let's get focused. Let's get clear. Let's get to work. This is not about, we're not working on anyone else, we're working on you. And that matters, because in this space, you matter. And everything else in that time is put over here, and we get clear. And that clarity means that you also need your space to do it. Not having, everyone climbing over you, everybody pulling you away, everyone. It's like you learn. Then it's like when we first started, everyone's got like all this stuff. And then before you know it, everyone's like in their own world. They got their space created. They're doing their thing. It's like everybody starts to figure out what is happening. These women are on this more than existing journey. They're in this movement, and we better stay out of there for now. Just let them have it. And you don't even realize that it is changing, that things are changing. Your jobs, how we are in our roles in our jobs, everything starts to be different. And finding, so for me, it was that whole, in the quote of the book, in the program when we originally started was, I'm done. I'm finding joy and happiness no matter the cost. I would have never known it was going to be 4 levels of a program, a deck of oracle cards, and 4 books and a 5th book, later, that it would all come down to more than existing, mirror reflection, the wine and chips, and you can't make this shit up book, which is trademarked and is in the trademark process. And you can't make this shit up. It's called Magic and Miracles. And More Than Existing is about that self-actualization, that self-awareness, that making, getting clear on that of you. And then level 2 is called the mirror reflection. It is that finally you look in the mirror, and that spirit that was calling you out starts calling you inward, starts calling you back now and saying, hey, that's not okay. Not okay you speak to yourself that way. And you feel yourself, I said, I cry now more than I've ever cried in my life. But that's because I now know what joy means. But I didn't know joy was going to cause me so much pain. But it didn't cause pain. It caused breaking open and letting things go, like those thoughts and those childhood stories that you hold on to. I always say, I'm the second child, and I'm always the number 2, and da-da-da. I'm like, I'm not 5. Get over yourself. And that was how I started to speak to myself. That's not how I speak to you guys, but it's like, sometimes. But it's like, no, it's like that whole sense of what was happening at 5. Why is that still having such a big role? And when you look at the 5-year-old and you see how 5-year-olds see it, and then you see how the adult of you starts to see it, when you start to disassociate but associate. So it's like we look in that 3rd person view. You look at the story differently and think, oh God, my mother was like 20 and she had these kids. And, it's like everything starts to change when you view the story differently. And then you can start to kind of laugh at yourself a little bit. So you find humor in our mirror reflection level. It's like we find the humor at ourselves, but we also find a deeper seated healing. And then level 3 is an actual healing journey. It is me stepping in as the healer. It is taking that soul journey that we take, and we get creative with, okay, you've done this work. How are you going to create your life now? I'm going to give you these healing sessions, and from there, where are you going to go with this? Along with coaching with that, how are you going to create this? So we journal it through in a deeper way, in a bigger way. And that we have to be the saviors of our own lives. We have to be the ones who are willing to step in and take ourselves out of that story and rewrite the story. And More Than Existing, the book itself, I could never have wrote this book 10, 12 years ago. It would have been so angry. I was so angry. And you don't even realize you're angry. It's like passive aggressive anger, frustration that comes out, seeps out in many ways. Control, right? Our trauma responses and the way we respond. It's like sometimes not communicating. And half of my relationships, the problem was that I didn't communicate. I never asked for help. I never asked for anyone to be there for me. I never said I needed support. I never once said I needed a day off. I said yes to everything I shouldn't have. And so when I had to step in and make that change, and then you can't make this shit up, truly becomes about when you can get to this point of knowing that joy, that happiness is temporary moments, that then becomes filling the bank of you. And it's like, but it powers you up and you become powered up. And then the most powerful thing that you have is love, because you've powered up on self-love. And when you've powered up on self-love, you have so much more to give to everybody else. Everybody else. And so joy and happiness has cost a lot, but it's what the investment into me has gained everything. And the investment of seeing these women take this journey and where they are and the changes. And then we also support each other. We help each other grow businesses. We help each other find out where we want to be. Purpose, what I've come to discover purpose is finding that sweet spot in life, that passion point in life, where you find the balance of giving and receiving with love in your heart. And that's purpose. And when you're living that life, happiness, joy, contentment, serenity, peace, freedom, all comes from there. And that's the magic. I'm like, I had to go through all that to find that shit. Like, it's like, and so finding out I'm only human. The whole journey was to discover that you're here to maximize the human journey. To maximize the human journey. And that's what we're doing in level 1, maximizing the human journey. And then we start to work with the soul. We start to work with connecting and realigning this whole beautiful system. So, yeah. Any add-ons to that for anybody?
I think for me, when the course ended, I kind of call it synchronicity, but things, in a way, Corrie taught us a different way of looking at things. And when you start to be aware, you start to notice things happening in your life. And I definitely felt like doors started to open for opportunities that maybe 6 months ago I would not have taken, not even opened the door and looked at it because of fears. And there have been opportunities for me that I actually took that chance and opened the door and took an opportunity. And just those little things that are even continuing to happen at this point just shows me the growth that I've been through this course. And, you know, I have to emphasize again that the way that Corrie teaches is so kind and so compassionate. Never mind the nudges, because we need that, but it really helps you to feel like there is a safe place, that, you know, you can really be yourself and you don't have to be afraid. And so, yeah, you have the chance, you're in doubt, I would say do it. So, yeah.
Thank you. I'm so glad you took that. Linda?
Yeah, I don't know if I can add anything to that. It just is how, I don't know, if you're looking for something, you're not sure what that is. I think this is a good place to look for it. More Than Existing is a great place to look for it, because it's going to help you look inside. I'm not done looking. Like, to me, that's the wonderful part. Like, I've watched some of our sisters, go through those thought processes and conversations and discoveries, and you know what, some of them are well on their way to starting some businesses and some new moving into some new areas where they're really exercising their passions and things. I'm not done yet, and so it's this ongoing learning. And I don't know, I just think that it's just such a supportive place to do it in. Yeah, I mean, I'm here to help you. I'm here to help support this program, and so I'm definitely an advocate for it. And if you're looking for something, this could be the something. Take the leap.
I think that's the only way. It's just something.
Yeah.
There's something special about it. There's something evolving about it. There's something, I'm always growing. The class is always growing. And the program is so, like, the mentors in this program are incredible. It's not just me. When Linda started, it was just me. They only had me. And now the group has, like, these amazing mentors, and everybody's stepping up and everybody supports each other. And then there's accountability groups that we just get into, or just supporting each other groups that are created. it's like just such an evolution. And now the book is out. So now we actually have the More Than Existing book, which was a whole nother process in itself. And this ties into the program as well. It's told through those stories and created through me using my stories, the channel, the healer, the channel of, the amazing other things that I do besides coaching that are gifts that allow me to be able to do this kind of stuff and use my stories and to be also able to help other people. And so people always say, well, are you a medium in there? I'm like, no, I'm not a medium, but I'm always channeling, not in school, but I'm always channeling through your energy, because we're all vessels and we're all we're all like bamboo shoots to this beautiful light that flows through us from source. This book is edited by one of the level 3s who's also a huge part, and I call her the architect of those Corrie School of Magic now, how it has all evolved. And Lisa is Lisa Richard edited this out, and to just know that we know each other that well as a group, as a group, that even I could step fully away and those mentors could take care of this, no problem. And I have full trust in that process. And I would have such a control freak before. I would never have trusted anybody to take anything, and which holds us back sometimes because it brought out the perfectionist in me. Mm-hmm. And now it's like when I feel those moments and I feel those times, I'm like, no, there's an amazing support team. I don't need to be there. I don't need to show up sometimes. I teach every class, but I don't have to always be in all their little places. And now I'm seeing those level 1s and watching them prepare for their closing ceremony, their graduation they're having, and how they're stepping up and seeing them evolve and grow. It's like my heart. So my reward is always the sense of my heart and how my heart feels. And it just feels as if I don't know if there's enough room in my heart. I don't know if my heart can contain anymore. And I'm not who I was a year ago. I'm not who I was 6 months ago. I'm not who I was 2 weeks ago when this book came out. And then I was having a major meltdown about rejection. And I was trying to defend everything and justify everything about how I wasn't this writer and I wasn't this. And I'm like, get the frick over yourself again. It's like these moments, but they will arise. But, we learn how to coach ourselves down. We learn how to bring ourselves back into the grounding. We learn how to come back home again. And when we can't bring ourselves all the way home, we go back into the group and we find that support and we reach out. And when we learn to reach out and we learn to reach up, and we know there is something greater than us and something within us that is always calling for us, that we learn to make us a part of the whole more than existing. So I'm grateful for you ladies. I'm grateful for you being here with me and taking this journey for yourselves. And thank you for having the courage to come in here on this live and do this with me tonight. So thank you so much. We have a lot of people in here kind of going back and forth here. And Colette, another student who said, she's so happy she took this journey. My dear friend who was there before this program started, Lisa Starr Francis, she's like cheering us on, and that safe place, and just knowing she also works in industry, so she knows how important it is for to have support for us to be able to go through this. So Lisa Richard is here sharing out information, and Lisa is a huge piece of putting the program together in so many ways. She's the organizer. There's things you learn that we might be really good at a lot of things, but not everything is for us to do. And that's a big thing, is when you learn to ask for help and you learn to reach out, you learn that there's other people who are quite capable of helping you in life so that you can actually deal and, have the room to be able to move away from things and just allow yourself to sit in what needs to be done, or to hone in on what is your greatest, what's going to be the best things for you. And yeah, so I've really found that sweet spot as we evolve and grow. And More Than Existing can be signed up in the school. Also, I know I hear Lisa's voice in my head to tell people, to let everyone know that when you go on and you see the sign up cost, and you're like, don't let the cat get in the way. Reach out to us. We create plans that align and suit for you. So we have contracts that are outside of that school one that if you can't sign up in there, if you feel you need to reach out to us, reach out to us. We make things work, and so that we can help you get through this program any way possible that we can. Never be afraid to ask. Never be afraid to ask. That's why we're here, and this is about, we want more and more women to really start more than existing, and that's our why. That's why we do what we do, and we are all a voice for each other and supporting each other and being present in each other's life from beginning to end. We are all still together. So thank you, ladies, for being here, and thank you for everyone who took the time to listen tonight and to join us and reach out to us, and we will help you through. Thank you, ladies. Have a good night. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Mwah.